Thank you, Patricia, for doing the recording. And we will just go ahead and have you take roll.
Okay, Councilmember Andrews,
Here.
Councilmember Ellis,
Yes.
Councilmember Francie,
Here.
Councilmember Gordon,
Yeah.
Councilmember Gordon. Okay, Councilmember Koshman. Councilmember Mackey,
Here.
Councilmember Meskis,
Present.
Councilmember Richrod,
Here.
Councilmember Ross,
Here.
Councilmember Shaw, Councilmember Short,
Here.
Councilmember Taylor. It looks like he was in the exec session, so he might be trying to get back over here. Council Mayor Shape,
Here.
and is that Councilmember Taylor coming back?
No, it's Stacy.
Okay, so I know he's around. I think he's in between the two meetings. So at this point, I'll show him as here. So that's the roll.
The suggestion was that we adjourn into executive session as the city council. And just to make sure that's procedurally proper, we need to inform the public that we're going to be in executive session for a certain period of time. This is
Right.
to
I have a
discuss,
script for that.
it's discussed to discuss potential litigation. And my recommendation was an hour.
Right.
I think that is sufficient time to discuss the matter.
Okay, I have a script for that, Jeff. So I'll go ahead and read that and then we can adjourn. Hold on one sec.
Okay.
All right. So I move that we recess into executive session for 1 hour. Action is anticipated after the executive session. The purpose of the executive session is to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to agency enforcement actions, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or a member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party, when public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency. I move we adjourn.
Second.
Recess.
Okay, we'll meet everybody over there.
Recess.
I move we recess. She already seconded it. We have to take a vote.
All in favor of recessing to executive session for 1 hour, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are recessed.
And
It
we'll be
is-
back at 8:15.
Yes, thank you.
I'm surprised this worked between the last meeting and this one.
Frank, are you going to executive session? You're on mute, Frank.
Sorry, hi.
Are you gonna hop over onto executive session?
Oh, we're in executive session right off the bat. I'm heading right there then.
Okay.
I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
they sent out a separate invite for it.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm going to pause the recording until the members come back. I'm starting the recording because council is expected to be back in 5 minutes.
All right, everybody, we're coming back into the committee of the whole. And so we're going to give everybody a minute to come in. We do have a guest speaker this evening, Chris Koski, who's going to give us an update on the levy. But we'll give everybody a minute here to come back. Still have some council members that are missing. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. Oh, Dean's missing. All right, we're waiting for Melvin to come back. Katie's out. There's Deborah. So it looks like just Melvin.
Tian, what are you doing here? You should be in bed. Go to bed.
She can't help it, but she's not going to talk.
Don't
She's
make me
just
call
gonna
John.
listen. Oh, there's Melvin. All right, let's give Melvin a second. Liz, go ahead. We're getting ready to go.
Tony, could you ask that everybody mute their microphones? We're hearing somebody's TV in the background.
It could be mine because I'm unmuted.
Oh.
But it's okay. I will mute myself in just a second once we get everybody in. Melvin, can you hear us? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, Melvin can hear us. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we are good. So Chris Koski is going to be giving us a presentation. So Chris, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you very much. This will be a brief update on the North Shore Levy. Can everybody hear me okay?
Could I do we need to reconvene?
I'm terribly sorry. We're reconvening the committee of the whole. And now we will turn it over to Chris Koski, who is our guest speaker this evening.
All right, thank you. This is going to be a brief presentation. Of course, ask any questions at the end, or feel free to shoot me questions, by email or phone later. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by sharing my screen. Okay, so this is a brief update on the North Shore Levy. And most of you are very familiar with this, but the quick recap is, I know it's beautiful out right now and sunny, but when winter comes, we are at risk for floods here in Aberdeen. And we have the flood risk from the, basically from the ocean, what amounts to a king tide with a storm surge. We call this the coastal flood risk. And those, I've shown you these photos before, they're just so classic, showing a king tide with a low barometric pressure. You could actually see the sky was blue that day, and it really wasn't raining much, but extreme high tide overflowed the banks of our local rivers. And here's the other type of flood risk, is our rainfall. So this is the infamous January 2015 rainfall event. And there's some images in West Aberdeen with quite a lot of water throughout the neighborhoods. So a good reminder that we are at risk from flooding here. And quick recap as well, this translates into a lot of regulations on our floodplain where our city is located. So we're in the National Flood Insurance Program, and this translates to building code regulations. And this also translates to mandatory flood insurance for mortgages, both of which are burdens for our citizens, burdens for development and investment. So that is just a quick recap and background on why we have been working in the last 5 years on our North Shore Levy project, along with the city of Hoquiam. And quick update on where we're at, our current activity and our look ahead. We are at final pre-construction activity right now. We're continuing to work on the final design permitting. And notably, we've expanded our project team to include HDR engineering, which brings in some national level expertise, some really top level engineers to finalize our design and permitting. Our right-of-way acquisition phase is underway. So we have our real estate consultants, appraisers are out negotiating easements and property purchases along portions of the alignment. And we're really pivoting now to our implementation and construction financing. Because while we are funded for design, property acquisition, permitting, and for some early construction, as I'll mention in a moment, we do not have full construction funding. So as we pivot to implementation, one major accomplishment will be the construction of a new Fry Creek pump station. This work is fully funded. That huge thanks to our local delegation from the 19th and 24th districts for including almost $9 million in the state capital budget for the Fry Creek pump station. So that will be going to construction in 2022. And you all should have seen a utility bill insert in your August utility bills, either PDF on your email if you do electronic billing, or a paper insert if you receive your bill through the normal mail, providing an update on that Fry Creek pump station and also on the related Fry Creek restoration project, which will widen the creek channel, restore some native plantings there, and replace some culverts. So as I showed you in those photos, Fry Creek is a major contributor to flooding in certain years. Some years it's totally not, some years it is. So that's Fry Creek Pump Station is much needed. We're continuing to work with our governmental affairs consultants. That's Gordon Thomas Honeywell. That was an incredible decision by the cities of Aberdeen and Hoquiam to bring Gordon Thomas Honeywell on board. We consult with them regularly, coordinate with them. They keep us in touch with our state and federal delegations, and they've just been extremely valuable. And in this next biennium, it is all about aggressively pursuing our full construction financing in parallel as we finalize the design and permitting. So I know it's been, as I said, it's been 5 years. I started working at the city 5.5 years ago, just as our first contracts were getting underway. And these big projects are extremely complicated and take a long time. So this was a really complicated slide that I simplified. I just called it the funding puzzle. So our strategy is that there is no single funding source which is going to pay for this project. To date, we have secured over $25 million for this project, and I'll show you in one more slide how that breaks down. Notably, of that $25 million, there has been no local funding from the city of Aberdeen or the city of Hoquiam. So that's all state, county, or federal funding. And then, so far of that total budget, we have spent or it's currently under contract for about $6.5 million of that. And that leaves about $18.7 million in our piggy bank. But as I'll show you in 2 slides, all of that money we've got plans for it. So there's no unspent or uncommitted money in our budget. So just a quick recap of our secured funding. The red is the biggest chunk. It's labeled as RCO and then some numbers there. That is funding that originally came from the Chehalis River Basin Flood Authority, and in earlier years and more recently, that comes through the Office of the Chehalis Basin Strategy, which you may have heard about in local media, and they have regular meetings as well. So almost $12 million of our budget is through that state funding. The next biggest chunk is that sort of light blue or blue-green, the 2021 capital budget. So that's in this last legislative session, we were extremely grateful to our local delegation for that almost $9 million in funding. And then there's some other smaller slices here. The yellow is from a previous capital budget session, funding that's come through the Department of Commerce, 2 county funding agreements through our .09 fund. And then I missed this one blue, smaller blue slice. That was the very first funding in the project back in 2015 or 16. And that's what kind of got things kicked off. That was state funding. So as I mentioned, we've spent about $6.5 million or spent or have it committed under contract currently for work that's occurring. And the remaining budget, huge chunk of that, the red here, is going to the construction of the Fry Creek pump station. The blue is what's being held for the ongoing right-of-way acquisition. And then the yellow is being held for professional consultant fees. There's a lot of engineering, permitting, specialty consultants that goes into a project like this. So I wanted to talk to you tonight too about local commitment. So as I mentioned, almost $25 million, and we have been extremely fortunate that those dollars have been coming from other sources so far. So local match, or the buzzword is skin in the game. It's, you know, what are you going to put down for this project? That's really what we're going to need to get us to that finish line. And the nice thing about local commitment is we use those dollars and we leverage them up. So we take, you know, for every dollar that is committed locally, we use that as match to convince other state and federal sources to fund the project. A lot of these sources, grant programs, they don't want to fully fund 100% of the cost. They want to see that you are making a local commitment as well and providing that match. So our project team has looked at our budget, and we are recommending initial commitment of $7 million local. And just for example, $7 million would be a 10% match for a $70 million grant. I listed some kind of typical percentages for grant matches. It really depends on the federal program. But this would be strategic timing to make a local commitment to this project. There is what's called the FEMA BRIC program, has its pre-applications due in September. BRIC is a program that both Aberdeen and Hoquiam applied to last year. Aberdeen as Aberdeen and Hoquiam for the Fry Creek pump station, then Hoquiam for their North Shore Levy West project. And that program is an excellent fit for this kind of infrastructure and this kind of investment in the community. So this grant program allows for very large asks, and the larger the ask, the larger the match. So that's where the $7 million recommendation from us comes from. So my plan is to I just want to give you a brief update and just kind of let you know that we're going to be recommending that a local match be made to the project in the near future. It's strategic timing to make this commitment. And on this final slide, I'm sorry it's so busy, but it's just I just kind of plopped a bunch of the immense benefits of this project. The lifting of the regulations in the floodplain, where so much of our investment is, the removal of those mandatory flood insurance requirements on mortgages. And I don't know if this is easy for you to read. I don't know how big your screens are, but we've looked at some preliminary employment impacts, and this job directly or indirectly, this project directly or indirectly will create an estimated 1,000 jobs. So it's huge. Not just the direct fiscal impacts, but this is truly an investment in our community. I know a lot of you already know that. So any questions? Sorry, I just kind of flew through that and I can't see you all. So let me, I do see you, Liz.
Chris, I was wondering, you said the initial recommendation is to set aside $7 million for the match, the local skin in the game. To actually get this built, will that be sufficient, or do you think we're actually looking at needing more?
That is our recommended starting point. So we are partnering with the city of Hoquiam on this project. We have an interagency agreement with Hoquiam, and we'll be working on a parallel commitment from the city of Hoquiam. So it'll really be the sum of the two local commitments. And whether or not it will be enough is really dependent on the specific grant programs that we're successful with and what those needed match levels are. And there's always the chance that there is a program that's willing to provide a large portion of the funding, but that it requires a larger match. It's a really dynamic situation, as you can imagine, especially with our governmental affairs consultants. We are continually updating our state and federal delegations. Congressman Kilmer, through the Invest in America Act, has proposed almost $10 million for the Aberdeen Hoquiam Flood Protection Project, which, not trying to confuse anyone, but that is the overarching name that we are using for both the North Shore Levy and the North Shore Levy West. So Congressman Kilmer has proposed $10 million for that combined project. So to answer your question, it really depends. But this is our initial recommendation.
Does anybody else have any questions for Chris? I do not see any. Thank you, Chris.
Welcome.
All right, if nobody has any questions, if I'm not seeing any, we will move along. So we are going to move on to department heads. So we will call each department head alphabetically. Community Development Director Scott.
Thank you, Acting Council President Tawny Andrews, Council and Mayor. I'll make this short tonight. I know it's already been a long meeting. We have our first public kickoff for the comprehensive plan scheduled for next week on Wednesday, August 18th at 6 o'clock in the evening. The Zoom invite and the information is on the city's website, and as we get the agenda finalized, we will also get that out. We have on our website as well the link to take the survey to get a good feel for the same survey with a little bit of updates that y'all have taken. I sent the notification out to all of you, and I hope that you forwarded it to as many people as humanly possible, because the more we get, the better off it will be. So if you have any questions, I'm available. If not, thank you very much.
All right, I don't see anybody raising their hand. So we will move on to Deputy Corporation Counsel Worgum.
I don't really have anything much to report for this week. So.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for him? No? All right. We're good. Moving along. We will go Finance Director Patricia Soul.
Thank you. We had our meeting at 6 p.m. tonight, and I was going to defer comments to Council President Shaw, but she is no longer with us. So I can.
I'll take over.
Okay.
For that portion.
So I will let Councilmember Ross take over. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Fire Chief Hubbard.
Evening, Tom Hubbard, Fire Chief, Aberdeen Fire Department. Public Safety met at 6:30 tonight, and I will defer my comments to Public Safety Chair Tawny Andrews.
All righty, now we move on to Human Resource Director Mills.
Good evening, everybody. I have nothing to bring forward to the City Council tonight.
All right, thank you very much. Parks Director Barnum.
Thank you. I have a couple of items on the agenda tonight, and I'll try to be quick. We've got the recommendation from the Board of Museum and History to allow me to send out a request for proposals. So this is not approving the expenditure or a contract. This is just to allow me to send out the RFP. Should a consultant be selected, a contract would still come to the council for approval at a later meeting. The other item is the transfer of the items in the Armory Annex that the 3 museums selected. So I'm hoping you'll approve that. Later in the meeting, I'll be giving an update on the capital facilities plan that I sent out an RFP for on Friday last week. And then lastly, I want to make sure to invite you all and the community to our Garley Park celebration. It will be on Thursday, August 26th at 5:30 p.m. at Garley Park in South Aberdeen. We'll be doing some press releases and public announcements, and you as the council will also be receiving an email invitation, but I wanted to make sure and announce it tonight. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Police Chief Schumate.
Thank you, Councilmember Andrews. As you're aware, and as Chief Hubbard made mention, Public Safety did meet earlier this evening, so I will defer the comments to you.
Public Works Director Singer.
Good evening. Public Works met yesterday at 4 o'clock, and we have a really short agenda items. I believe we had 3, and I will lead those to the committee chair. Thank you.
All righty, moving along to the mayor's report. Mayor.
Thank you. As you know, we had a potential situation Saturday and downtown, and so based on intelligence that had been received, there was a potential for hundreds of individuals to be present on Saturday and with competing interests. So in preparation, Aberdeen Police Department scheduled additional off-duty personnel, and 3 of the officers were exempt staff, the chief, deputy chief, and the commander. While their time does not cost the city additional funds in total, the command staff utilized over 40 hours addressing various calls, emails, preparing for the event, and then all of them coming in on Saturday to oversee the event. There was numerous ones that left family plans and outings and came in. For the non-exempt staff, Aberdeen Police Department utilized about $3,400 to cover the overtime for this details. As is typical for law enforcement assistance from outside agencies, Aberdeen will not be charged for their service. Overtime was certainly utilized by the agencies that helped us, though. The estimated cost about $2,500. We're very, very thankful that we planned for the worst, but nothing materialized. Unfortunately, that planning did come to a cost. So I'd like to just really thank all our emergency services for their help and their service. The fire department also put on an extra ambulance crew Saturday morning. So it was great that nothing actually materialized, but we were out there and we were ready. And then the course of the week, there's been staff time added up with phone calls as well. So that's it. Thank you.
All righty, so we'll move on to non-standing committee reports of the council. Alphabetically, I'm first. So I did attend the Aberdeen Museum Board meeting, and they are looking forward to meeting with the council to talk about the future of the museum. Councilwoman Ellis, you're up next.
I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Francie?
Hi, I was able to take part in the Downtown Aberdeen Association's historic walking tour. And actually got to be able to go on top of the Becker building and check out the views out there. And I learned a couple of things about our local history, and they have one more tour left, so check them out.
All righty. Councilman Gordon.
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Councilman Mackey.
Hi, I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Councilwoman Mias.
Thank you. I have no additional items this evening.
Councilman Richrod.
I'm working on a whole bunch of things, but really nothing yet to report on. So
Councilwoman Ross.
Thank you. Just like to remind everyone about our Downtown Aberdeen Association Summerfest celebration on August 21st. There's going to be lots of really fun things to do and see. And I understand we may get some culinary skills from Mayor Shave. So come on down on August 21st and join us. Thank you.
Councilwoman Short.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Councilman Taylor. You're muted. I think. Oh, he doesn't have anything to report, I think is what, right? Yes. Oh, there you are.
Yep, I have nothing.
All righty. With that, this brings to a close the committee of the whole. We'll move on to the regular meeting.
Thank you. This Mayor Shave, it's 8:43 Wednesday, August 11th, 2021, and I call the Aberdeen City Council meeting to order. Public comments and public hearing comments are included during the Zoom video meetings. The public was notified that if they wish to speak during the meeting, an email be sent to Patricia Soul, City Clerk, and indicated that they would like to speak or have the clerk read the comment. If they desire to comment live, they will be called on during the meeting and allowed to speak for 3 minutes. Written comments were provided to all the city council members. Councilmember Andrews, did you have at this time a motion for this?
I do. I would like to make a motion for Aberdeen City Code 2.20.030. The City Council has the discretion not to read written comments. And due to the high volume of council comments this evening, that we received 56 public comments. The city clerk, I would make a motion that the city clerk read the names of all of the people who submitted comments, and then those will be available on the city's website tomorrow morning for a public viewing. I move that we have them read in by name only.
Okay.
Motion was made and seconded to just read the names of the comments. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Meskis.
Thank you very much. Due to the nature of the comments, I'm actually going to abstain from voting as they primarily pertain to me, and I don't feel it would be fair for me to vote either way.
Okay, any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Are there any that oppose? Seeing none, the motion carried. Okay, moving on. Let's, City Clerk, could you take a roll call for the City Council meeting?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Andrews,
Here.
Councilmember Ellis,
Yes.
Councilmember Francie,
Here.
Councilmember Gordon,
Here.
Koshman is absent. Councilmember Mackey,
Here.
Councilmember Meskis,
Present.
Councilmember Richrod,
here.
Councilmember Ross,
Here.
Councilmember Shaw, Councilmember Short,
Here,
Councilmember Taylor,
Here.
Mayor Shave,
Here,
okay. There's 2 absent.
I move that we excuse Deanne Shaw and Katie Koshman from tonight's meeting.
Second.
I don't know who seconded. Motion was made and seconded.
Liz Ellis did. I saw her light up.
Okay, thank you. Motion was made and seconded to excuse Deanne Shaw and Katie Catchman. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank
I make
you. Oh, go ahead.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Are there any additions or deletions to the meeting? Okay, seeing none, move on to the public comments portion of the meeting. City Clerk, will you read the names of the of those who sent in public comments?
Yes, Mayor. We did have one person that sent in a request to make a public comment themselves. Will that be allowed, or will that, he also sent in a written public comment too?
He sent in a written public comment also?
Yes.
I think if they send in a written one, is if they're not going to repeat what they wrote, then they could have 3 minutes.
Okay, let me start with that. Gotta find him just a second. Patrick Carey, I'm going to allow you to talk for 3 minutes if it's different than your written comment you submitted.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name is Patrick Carey, and last night I slept in Ward 2. I strongly believe that Mr. Suture's views and public display of hate and bigotry are appalling and disturbing. Then just as disgusting to see was the radical right-wing group, the Proud Boys, milling around on the sidewalk, a group that proudly admitted to its involvement in deadly and treasonous attacks on our nation's capital, not but months ago, in an attempt at a coup. That is domestic terrorism by definition. They are terrorists. Twice I have given my phone number in recent city council meetings with an invitation for discussion about the homeless in Aberdeen. No one apparently thought talking to me was worth the time, except for one person, Councilor Meskis. Her and I exchanged text messages, and she even found time out of her home life to call me up and talk with me about Aberdeen city issues and possible thoughts of improvement. This I appreciated very much. It is that kind of person I want representing my ward, a person who cares less about the politics and more about the people that they serve. Out of this whole situation, I feel the worst for Mr. Suture. It must be terrible not being able to sympathize with someone because they're different than you are. It is that same lack of ability to empathize that has led to many of the worst injustices in the history of mankind. Slavery, the Holocaust, apartheid, burning of witches, unrest in the Middle East, 9/11, high school bullies, the whole thing. It's because of that inability to empathize with people. It probably isn't entirely Mr. Suture's fault. He was most likely taught this behavior, to think this way, by a parent or a pastor or a teacher or a role model. I just hope that perhaps his grandchildren or his great-grandchildren will learn to look at people differently and with open minds and love instead of hate. It's a much happier life to live. I sincerely want that for his family because I am capable of empathizing with them, even though they're different than I am. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to now make it so you're removed from the ability to talk. It'll take me just a second. Okay, So the comments, 56 comments were sent in through 4 p.m. We have a link that I will share here to the screen that has all the comments that were uploaded after 4. Just a sec, if I can find that link. Maybe not. So they are out under the council section of the website. And under today's date where agendas go, there's also a document out there that has all of the public comments scanned in. So it's there. There, again, we're 56. I want to tell you where they're all from before I start naming names. There were 35 from Aberdeen, 2 from Grace Harbor, 2 from Hoquiam, 2 from Washington State, 2 from Montesano, 1 from South Africa, 1 from Minnesota, 1 from Oregon, 1 from Puerto Rico, 1 from out of state, and 8 were unknown. And they may or may not have a name to go with it. So public comment, I'll start with public comment 1 and go through 56. So Norman Klein, Shannon Nylander, Emily T, Jonna Bishop, Denise Baumgardner, Kelly Durham, Donald Malone, Erica McCroy, Johannes, Bruins, Dale Turner, Rachel Huff, Mark Tronvig, Daniel McBride, D.L. Gakin, Gakin, C. Bowers, Sue, SCACCIA. I'll have to spell the next one. ISHEE, first name, last name FACHEB. Jose E. Lopez, Jade, GILLIES, Philip, Michael, KIREOPOULOS, Ellen Kennedy, no name on this one. Jose Cruz, Stacy Snyder, anonymous, Jody Walton, David Gakin on behalf of Don SUCHER, and then Felicia Zawalski, another anonymous, Benjamin Battersby, Joseph Kerr, Kelly Hogbaum, Jim SANNES, Hunter VIRDIMIS, Bruno PIERACCINI, April VANDRIEL, Janice GENNISE Hathaway, Seth Eugene Johnson, TEDDA Teda DIFRANCO, Casey Morrison, Cricket Ruiz, Al Smith, Tina M. Wolf, Jim GILLIES, Patrick Carey, Spencer Stone, Glenn Hathaway, Rob Warren, Christy Maldona, MALDONADO, Andrew Carey, Lilith DE capital LOE, Aaron Jeffries, and J.R. Ward, Debbie Warren, and Aaron Buchanan. And that's all 56. Again, they're posted already out on the website under council meetings, agendas on today's date.
Thank you, City Clerk. Next on the agenda is the Finance Committee Vice Chair Ross.
Thank you, Mayor Shea. I need to bring the agenda up real quick so I can read the part for finance. So first we have approval of expenditures. I move we approve the expenditures.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the expenditures. Is there any discussion? Under discussion, Councilmember Meskis.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to hopefully get clarification from Public Works Director Sanger. It was brought up in the committee yesterday for Public Works that one of the vouchers, they just to clarify that it was the voucher for the security was not for the full month. I just wanted to see if you were able to verify that that was only for the partial month.
Yes, it was only for half the month.
Okay, great. And thank you so much for having that attention to detail on the expenditures.
Yep, no problem.
Any other discussion on the vouchers? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Andrews?
Do you need to list the amounts?
Yes, I do. Hold on.
No worries.
Accounts payable in the total amount of $1,448,905.28, and payroll in the total amount of $904,722.94. Check numbers 25228 through 25241 and 74089 through 74269. And then I'll do the roll call. Councilmember Andrews?
Yes.
Councilmember Ellis?
Yes.
Councilmember Francie?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordon?
Yes.
Cashman is absent. Councilmember Mackey?
Yes.
Councilmember Meskis?
Yes.
Councilmember Richrod?
Yes.
Councilmember Ross?
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw is absent. Councilmember Short?
Yes.
And Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
All approved.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to reports. Report number 1 is from the Finance and Parks Director recommending that the City Council transfer all city-owned property on the attached list to the Chehalis Valley, McCleary, and North Beach Museums in accordance with AMC 2.64.060 and allow for a public sale of the remaining property for fair market value. I move we adopt this report.
I second.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Under discussion, Councilmember Ellis.
Thank you. Just a quick question. When we transfer the property to the other museums, did they pay us for any of that, or is it just a gift?
They do not pay us. That's why we're transferring it.
Any other questions? Parks Department Head Barnum.
Yes.
You know, when you read this report, it sounds a bit scary because it talks about all city property. So maybe
Okay.
you could give a little tiny brief history. I mean, this was in the annex building, so.
Sure. So this is the items that were stored in the Armory Annex. Most of these items were not actually used in the museum, in the Armory building. The museum board about a year ago, maybe it's been a year and a half, went through all of the items in the Armory Annex to determine which items were still of value. So those items were taken out of the Armory Annex and moved to our museum warehouse location to be stored. The rest of the items that were left there were determined to not have significant value to an Aberdeen museum. So the museum board had requested that the city dispose of the items. So I guess there's a couple ways that we can do that. And so one is on this committee report where I'm asking you to transfer the items that were selected by the 3 museums. That process started with an invitation to all museums in Grace Harbor to come and look at the items in the Armory Annex. 3 museums responded. They're listed on the committee report. They made a list of the items that they were interested in, including tagging any items that they were multiple museums were interested in. So myself and the museum board chair and the collections committee chair reviewed the lists, reviewed the items that multiple museums had wanted, and made a new list. So all of the museums were to receive all of the items that they had requested. I think I'd evenly divided up the 6 items that multiple museums had selected. And I made those decisions based on if they had any historical value to the area that the museum was from. The rest of the items that will be there, we're gonna I need to figure out how to do hopefully some type of public sale, whether it be a sale held here in Aberdeen or whether we use Washington State Enterprise Services and use an auction type sale.
Okay.
Does that
Yep.
help?
Yep. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I've been working on this so long. I think sometimes I assume everybody remembers everything that's happened the last 3 years. So that was a good
Yeah.
idea. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? I don't see any. So all in favor of this report, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And our final report this evening is from Finance and the Parks Director, recommending that the City Council authorize the Parks Director to solicit a request for proposal for the restoration work on the Aaron's Fox and 1902 American steam engine to be paid for out of Fund 125. I move we adopt this report.
I second it.
Motion is made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Ellis.
It seems like these are perfect projects for grant funding. And I'm just curious if any grant funding was applied for this.
No.
Councilmember Andrews could probably answer as well.
Yeah, we haven't yet, but this is just the museum board wants to send out to bid to see how much it would cost. So it's just a bid process right now. And then once we determine the cost, then we can see what's out there and what we can explore.
So we're not approving the expenditure at this time.
No, this is just asking to send out for bids to get an idea of what it's going to cost.
Very good. Thank you.
And under the source of funding, it comes from 125, which is the museum fund. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the report, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. That's all from Finance tonight.
Thank you, Debbie. Got my paperwork mixed up here. So moving on to Public Works. Public Works Chair Report.
Thank you very much, Mayor and the Council. Public Works met yesterday at about 4:05, and we discussed our agenda items as well as a little bit of new business. There's some exciting stuff that Councilmember Ellis has been working on, so we'll be seeing something brought before Council before not too long, which will be really fun to work on. And for now, we'll go ahead and move on to our reports. First, we have a report from Public Works and the Public Works Director recommending that the City Council shall authorize the mayor to sign an agreement to extend the contract with Mall, Foster, and Alonji. I move we adopt this report.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Does everybody know where Shannon Slough is? I know you do, Tawny. Is that a clue for everybody? Okay, it's in Southside. All right. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of this report, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, next we have a report from Public Works and the Public Works Director recommending that a date for a public hearing be set to consider vacating the above referenced unimproved right-of-way. I move we adopt this report.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And last on our reports, we have a report from Public Works and the Public Works Director recommending that the mayor shall be authorized to sign the letter of understanding dated July 19th, 2021, as agreed to by both the City of Aberdeen and the Weyerhaeuser Company. I move that we adopt this report.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and under resolutions, we have a resolution setting the date for a public hearing on the proposed vacation of the following right-of-way: Lee Street, southwest corner of Lee Street and Southwest Boulevard, 120 degrees northeast along abutting parcel 0120007012000. Then the 10 foot of the 20-foot alley for a total of 130 feet of 30 feet of right of way, then 60 foot wide for 215 foot, all to match their abutting properties. 0120007009000, 01200600001, 1200500001, 0120000800100, and 01200500100. Polk Street, 30 feet width beginning at lot 6 of parcel 01200500500 to the south end of lot 4 of 920 Polk, parcel 0120005001000, then widening to 60 feet or 75 feet to Lee Street. I move that we accept this resolution.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to accept this resolution. What a mouthful. Is there any discussion? Under discussion, Councilmember Meskis.
Just under discussion, yes, I was thinking about the Monty Python spam skit while I read all of those zeros. So.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And that is all for Public Works.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee Chair report.
All righty, so public safety met this evening at 6:30. And so we'll just start with the Aberdeen Police Department. There's 2 items on the agenda for them: approval to complete the installation of the alarm system for the entire evidence system. Right now, we only have like a portion of our evidence covered with an alarm system, so we need to expand that. And it all, as we continue to work towards accreditation, this is part of that process. We're hoping to be accredited again by early 2022. Also on the agenda is approval to userize the DTF Treasurer Trust Funds for the department's narcotics canine unit. While the state of Washington is moving towards legalizing simple possession, with the hope that those who use will seek treatment, the department needs to proactively address those who deal drugs. Having a narcotics canine will help remove these poisonous drugs from our community. We're excited to report that the police department has hired Police Service Officer Stephen Ayers as an entry-level police officer. Of course, that leaves an opening in that department, so the chief is working on that. We also had a discussion about that he has 3 possible retirements coming up and not a very long list of candidates. The APD, VIPs, and police explorers all participate in numerous community events. On July 31st, they hosted the annual Emergency Preparedness Expo. Volunteers, explorers had booths while they gave a bike rodeo. The explorers had a bike rodeo for kids. And later in the day, the VIPs also visited the annual art walk. On August 3rd, the APD, VIPs, police explorers all took part of National Night Outs. They visited 4 separate locations. The Grace Harbor County Fair was recently held last week, and the volunteer and police services assisted with after-hours walk-around security at the fair and drive-around security. This was also a fundraiser for the group, as the fair provided a donation to the group. Just on a side note, our length of service was 10:30 p.m. to 7 a.m. I did Saturday night. I am not as young as I used to be. It was hard staying up all night. Last week, the city of Aberdeen received $67,342 from the state of Washington to offset costs generated by the law enforcement and criminal justice related legislation enacted between January 1st and June 30th. A considerable amount of resources has already been utilized by the police department regarding legislation, and the department will continue to work with finance to determine what is necessary to account for this. Over on the fire side, we have the fire specialist report, and I have the call statistics. There's one agenda item, which is a report from public safety and the fire chief with the interlocal agreement amendment between the county and the city of Aberdeen for continued operation of the overdose quick response team, and the fire service specialist volunteers with that. There's quite a lengthy report, and so I will not go into all of it just because of, but in essence, our fire department responded to 517 calls. And we always use Graham as our little, and if you do Aberdeen and Hoquiam, which, you know, comparatively to Graham, you know, we did 200 more calls than Graham did with both cities, and that's quite a bit. But there was quite a bit that happened, but I will forward all of that to all of the city council members following the meeting, so you can read all the statistics. All right, hold on, I gotta, switch screens. Oh, I gotta have fun. Okay, back over here. Okay, so we have a report from public safety and the fire chief recommending that the city council authorize Mayor Shave to execute the interlocal agreement amendment number 1 between Grace Harbor County and the city of Aberdeen for continued operation of the overdose quick response team until December 31st, 2022. I move we accept this report.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to accept this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
So a report from public safety and the chief of police recommending that the Aberdeen Police Department be authorized to complete the acquisition of a narcotics canine patrol vehicle and associated narcotics canine selection and training. I move we accept this report.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to accept this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And we have the report from public safety and the chief of police recommending that the city council authorize the mayor to sign the agreement with ADT for installation of alarm equipment and monthly monitoring services. I move we accept this report.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to adopt this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And that's it from public safety.
Thank you very much. Under special agenda items, we have a report from the Parks Director recommending that the Aberdeen City Council amend Aberdeen Municipal Code 2.60.040J regarding park hours.
I move we accept this report.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded to accept this report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 is an update from the Parks Director on the capital facilities plan process. This report is offered as informational only. Council action is not requested. Go ahead, Stacy.
All right, thank you. So hopefully you all had an opportunity to take a look at the information I sent out. I included a few slides from Washington State Department of Commerce. They put together a guide on what cities should do in developing their citywide capital facilities plan. I also included a link to that slideshow if you'd like to take a look at all of the information. We did send out our request for proposals last Friday. The request for proposals includes the city of Aberdeen's facilities, which include all of our parks and recreation facilities, our fire department buildings, our police department buildings. And I know we're working on a new gun range that is included. City Hall, Municipal Court, future museum building or buildings. There's also been talk about having a warehouse, a future Gateway Center building. And the Public Works infrastructure and buildings was not included in this capital facilities proposal. They have already done their own capital facilities plan for their infrastructure. Chris Koski did point out that we should probably include the Levy project. So I'll send out an amendment to all of our consultants to let them know that we would like to include the Levy as part of that capital facilities plan. And once we receive proposals, they would be reviewed by myself, the fire chief, the city engineer, the community development director, and the mayor. We would review those proposals, and we've got a scoring criteria that we would use. We'd narrow it down to the top 3, and we would do interviews with the top 3. And once we've done the interviews, compiled our points, we would select the top consulting firm and then bring that to the city council for your review and hopefully for your approval. So I've got the proposals due by August 24th. We would review the statements of the statement of qualifications. We'd have interviews. We'd do a consultant selection, hopefully by September 9th. And then do contract negotiation with hope that they could proceed after September 24th. And I put a completion date of January 24th. If you take a look at that link on that website, you'll see that a capital facilities plan, it's a pretty large project. So I wanted to allow enough time for the consultants to really get all the information that they need and do the analysis that they need to provide a good capital facilities plan for the city of Aberdeen. And it's looking out 6 years. So planning for 6 years for our city, what our infrastructure needs are, and how we would pay for those infrastructure needs over the next 6 years. So that's the short version of a very large project.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Next item is resolution. First reading of bill number 21-06, an ordinance amending Aberdeen Municipal Code 2.60 regarding 0.040J regarding park hours.
I move that we accept the first reading.
Second.
Second.
Motion was made, seconded to accept the first reading of the resolution. Is there any discussion? Under discussion, Councilmember Meskis.
Thank you. Just for quick clarification, you mentioned this was under resolutions. It's actually under ordinances. So just to make sure that it's being read under the right section.
Oh, it shows it on here as a resolution.
It's on the notes.
Yep, I see what you're saying.
It was accidentally put on the notes wrong.
On the other page, it's under ordinances. So it is an ordinance. This is the first reading. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the first reading, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next meeting will be a public comment period on this,
Public hearing.
public hearing. Thanks. Okay. And that's all for special agenda items. Moving on to city council comment period. Councilmember Andrews.
Well, we had Art Walk on July 31st, and we did it over in Morrison Park. It actually worked really well over there. So we probably do it again there next year. But it went really well. I appreciate everybody who came out and turned out. We had, Billy's donated a card to us. And so we did a little drawing. We had visitors from Alabama and Hawaii who stopped by to see us. So that was kind of nice. And Councilwoman Ross already mentioned Summerfest, so I won't mention that one. And then the Out and Proud Association, or sorry, Out and Proud, I just say association for everything. Out and Proud is having Grace Harbor Pride in October, and a fundraiser for them will be August 23rd. There'll be vendors, music, and a drag show all on Broadway beginning at 7 p.m. There's no entry fee. They're just taking donations. It's a family-friendly event, so we want, everybody to be on their best behavior. Think Disney, but it'll be a family-friendly event. So everybody go out. We got wonderful things happening in our city, so let's go out and celebrate it. That's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Rich Rod.
There we go. I don't often have much comment, but I wanted to ask the council's indulgence for about 4.5 minutes. I have something I really wanted to say, and to use the official parlance, I grant myself such time as I might consume. But I am deeply concerned. I'm concerned that Aberdeen has again garnered international notoriety, and again for the wrong reasons. I forced myself to watch the video concerning the offending sign, and offending it certainly was. It was hateful and hurtful. It's arguably did not belong in a place of business, and in my view, disgraced and demeaned medical science. The assumption made in that sign was factually incorrect. We've known since the 1950s that the notion that anyone whose 23rd chromosomal pair is XX is female, and anyone who has a chromosomal pair of XY is male simply is no longer entirely true. For a while, the plumbing fixtures pointed to either male or female. That is not always true. The science shows that sex and gender are definitely not binary, but morally and scientifically right by the First Amendment of the Constitution, such beliefs and even to express them. There have been numerous Supreme Court cases restating the idea that offensive speech, including symbolism in and of itself, however horrific and hateful, is protected. There are, of course, exceptions, i.e. shouting fire in a crowded theater and all that. However, stating such opinions publicly, while a right, carries with it a responsibility, and with that realization that you might be challenged. And Councilmember Meskis did just that. Anyone with an ounce of empathy for their fellow human beings could see how hurtful the sentiment expressed in that sign might be, especially when on public display. The council members' objections, regardless of how they may have been presented, were not met with reasoned discussion, but taken as a misplaced challenge of authority. Nevertheless, Council Meskis was well within her First Amendment rights to make that challenge. And it bothers me that this happened and escalated as far as it did, bringing such adverse attention to the city of Aberdeen, but even that will pass. But what bothers me more is that we should be sorry.
You're breaking up, Alan.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. It bothers me that the city of Aberdeen, as well as the rest of the county, is caught in a spiral of greater and greater poverty and the tremendous financial and social harm that accompanies it. It bothers me that there is a large and growing number of people living here without benefit of safe and secure housing, having not the resources to afford it. It bothers me that there are county officials who, for reasons known truly only to them, deny the city of Aberdeen the financial resources to combat this problem, even though those resources cost them nothing, and even though the city and organizations within the county government passionately appealed for that support. Aberdeen is the economic hub of a county whose economy was based on exploitation of limited natural resources, but could be, if the proper effort were applied, a place where the world could come to see how to develop and foster 21st century sustainable industry. now in high demand throughout the world. In a 2020 survey, there were more than 85,000 jobs statewide in the clean energy sector alone. These jobs accounted for more than 25% of all construction jobs. Yet the city does not have the resources, either human or financial, to mount an aggressive professional campaign to seek out and recruit these industries. Aberdeen, who in her history spawned some of the people who developed many of those technologies. It bothers me that major economic development and the jobs and prosperity that brings is having to fight so hard to battle entrenched prejudices rallied against change. We are unable to fill the ranks of our police force and our firefighters. We're unable to fill the badly needed positions on staff at the city, including a good city administrator that we so desperately need. It bothers me that our progress towards a brighter future for Aberdeen has to fight so hard against the forces of ignorance and hatred, and that the enlightenment of reason, science, and knowledge are considered by too many to be evil. All of that, and that's only a tiny slice of the pie, bothers me much more than a sign in a window. We can build Aberdeen into the world-class destination that it should be. We can make Aberdeen, by extension, all of Southwest Washington, a place where diverse, sustainable, and profitable industry, along with the associated economic upturn, can thrive along with the people who live here. So I will conclude, much to the relief of most of you, with the remembrance of a quote from NASA rocket scientist Wernher von Braun, who was asked by a news reporter in the mid-1960s, Dr. von Braun, what is the most difficult part about going to the moon? Without hesitation, he said, summoning the will to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilmember Meskis.
Thank you very much. I will try to be as brief as possible. First, I thank you very much for your words, Councilmember Richrod. They were very heartfelt and speak to a lot of what a lot of us are thinking. I also wanted to extend a huge thanks to Chief Shoemate and the Aberdeen Police Department and Tom Hubbard and the Aberdeen Fire Department for being very diligent this last weekend, as they were alerted to a very violent group that was descending upon our city to counter protest a very peaceful demonstration that was organized by different people from all over the place. And it just seconds me that those people were silenced by these violent intruders to our city. You know, the thing is this all started because somebody decided to put a very hateful sign in their place of business. And I was alerted to this sign, and as a private citizen, not as a member of the city council, not under direction of the city of any kind, I simply went into this person's business to see if this sign was actually there. That is the truth. And upon entering his store, he did recognize me. And as I was trying to make my way to the sign, he circled around and decided that he was going to try to remove it. And that's where I simply asked him the question, so you're going to remove it just because I'm here? And at that point, I was accosted by the store owner. That is what the video shows. If you watch those videos and actually pay attention, that is what you are going to see. This is unacceptable behavior by anybody, anywhere. And we need to stop it. We need to talk to people who are displaying this kind of hate as much as possible. Chief Shoemate, or Mayor Shave, I am not done. Mayor Shave,
you're out of order.
I am not out of order.
There's nobody here to stand up for themselves.
I am speaking, sir. I am speaking. This is council comments,
Councilmember
not the mayor's
Meskis,
report.
you are out of order. Please stop.
This is
talking.
not the mayor's report. This is my comment time. I asked to
You are
finish
out
what
of
I'm
order.
saying.
Please stop
I
talking.
request to finish what
You
I want to
are
say.
out of order.
You are impeding my speech, sir.
I am telling you, you are out of order. There's nobody here to represent.
You are impeding
the
my
other
ability
side,
to
and
comment
you are
during council
testifying.
comment period, sir.
Is there anybody else on the council that has any comments?
Would anybody else like me to finish my comment, please?
I would like Council Meskis to be able to finish her comment. Sorry.
Council Meskis is testifying and the other side is not here to stand up for themselves.
I am not
For an
testifying, I'm
order,
commenting.
council comment.
Is there any other council comments?
So you're going to silence me.
That's correct.
You are out of order, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that we allow Councilwoman Meskis to finish her comment.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor, Mayor.
Motion is made and seconded that Councilmember Meskis can have the floor by the council. I would ask Mr. Myers if that's inappropriate. The mayor runs this meeting.
It's the city council's meeting. You're just the chair.
No. Mr. Mayor, you preside over the council meeting. The city council has made a motion which is essentially is appealing the chair's ruling that something is out of order. That motion is permitted and can be acted on by the council.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. That clarifies that for the public. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. There was an opposition.
I think Councilmember Taylor expressed opposition.
Okay, thank you. You have the floor,
Thank you,
Councilmember
sir.
Meskis.
Thank you, sir. I was actually about to finish when I was so rudely interrupted. This kind of hate cannot be allowed to fester in our community. We need to come together. We need to stop teaching hate. And when we find it, we need to eradicate it, not by violence, not by bringing people, into our community that are going to be threatening, but by education and by, reteaching what people have learned incorrectly. And that's all I would ask anybody to do is if they see this, hopefully you can confront it without the kind of interaction I experienced. And hopefully we can reteach people to be more accepting of their entire community and end the hate. Thank you. I'm done, Mayor.
Anyone else on the council? Seeing none. Councilmember Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. I came across a quote which caught my attention. It's written by Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And he said, far too often people think of themselves as just individuals separated from one another, whereas you are connected and what you do affects the whole world. When you do well, it spreads out. It is for the whole of humanity. And I think it's all too easy to criticize and point fingers and levy hateful, angry words, but that doesn't get Aberdeen where we want to be as a community. We're known for our friendliness, for our generosity, and let's exercise some of that humanity towards each other. We can have different views, but let's be respectful in how we express those so that we bring out the best in each other. We're all we're all learning human beings, and none of us are perfect. But together we have so many different talents, and together we can make Aberdeen really a lovely place to be. And I just hope that this perhaps is a bit of a wake-up call for our community as to who we want this city to be, and what kind of values we want the city to reflect. And let's just try and have meaningful and respectful communications. I know some of these issues and concerns are hard to fathom, but it's a time to look deeper into things that are of concern to each of us. And I appreciate those of my constituents who've reached out to me, and hopefully we'll continue to hear from the public. I assure every letter writer that I read every single letter, and I just hope we can get as much public comment focused on some really positive work that makes us all proud. Thank you.
Anyone else on the council? Seeing none,
Mayor, I move we adjourn.
motion was made and seconded to adjourn. If there's no objection, we will adjourn.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a great night.
Good night, everybody. Be safe.